Jerome asked me to talk about, to present at the Tech Talk. I had no idea what to talk about. I was going to talk about in my research. I realized like Mark couldn't get in and say everything I wanted to say in 15 minutes. So now I just want to move on. So all connected everything. So the title's for you. All right. So how many of y'all have heard of the Internet of Things? Everyone. Okay, good. So I don't even give y'all my Wikipedia definition. So, all right. So the Internet of Things, everything's connected. This infographic was taken from Cisco, and I'm just going to run through it. But the Internet of Things basically connecting everyday objects to the Internet or Internet-like structure. And this is something that's been on my mind for a little while. I've just been thinking about it. So during 2008, the number of things connected to the Internet exceeded the number of people on Earth. Wow, that's amazing. And they're saying that by 2020, it'll be 50 billion devices. There's a startup called Spark. Is guess what? They're connecting cattle, so that if cattle are pregnant or sick, you can farmers can get the information about it. And as this infographic says, this is just the beginning. Many people in here might use Spotify. They advertise this Sonos right here, which is music over your Wi-Fi. So this usually normally you would have the Bluetooth. Now they're doing this over the Wi-Fi. Some guys out of MIT created a company called Ambient Systems. I won't say Ambient Systems. They had this ambient board for sale. They've upgraded it now. You really can't find it anymore. But what it does is it measures how much energy you're using, and it ambiently displays your usage. So let's say the more red it is, like more internet usage you're using. And actually at a conference this past weekend, I met somebody who did some research into some of the societal implications, the group implications from Carnegie Mellon of using information like this, displaying information like this as far as group consumption. So when people are more aware of what they're using, they're more likely to use less. All right, so you all might have seen these things, but what about the Beam toothbrush? A connected toothbrush, yeah. Cause I saw your face. You're like, a connected toothbrush. So I was at the dentist about 6 months ago, and they were trying to sell me this Sonicare toothbrush for like $100, and it had a timer on it, and it after 2 minutes, it would beep. And I'm like, man, I'm not paying $100 for that. She said, well, if you don't want to, you get an egg timer. She said, I'm like, I'm not gonna do that, brushing my teeth. But they say you're supposed to brush your teeth for 2 minutes. What this does is it's connected to an app, so when you're brushing your teeth, we're going to amplify this. After you brush your teeth, it sends information to your smartphone. It tells you how long you're brushing your teeth to kind of give you this information. So along the thread of, giving you information to change your behavior, it does that. What do y'all think about that?
I think it's taking it too far.
It's taking it too far, but you're supposed to brush your teeth for 2 minutes. So, talking about brushing teeth, you remember, milk, you're supposed to drink milk. Strong teeth, strong bones, right? All right. So, if this works, oh, it doesn't work. So, strong teeth, strong bones. Y'all remember the Got Milk commercial? Oh man, it's not playing. So let me, yeah, I love the Dixie. So y'all remember, I'm just gonna play a bit of this. Y'all remember these commercials? This commercial where he goes and he's the first one. Oh, y'all remember this, y'all know what this is. But you all seen that. If you have not made a bowl of cereal and had less than enough milk, you really haven't lived. But they're saying they have a solution for this problem, where it monitors how much milk you have, and guess what? This is their concept. Yeah. And guess what it does? It sends you a message, low on milk, and it lets you know the closest grocery store, because you never want to get that, those few drops of milk, you know, on your frosted flakes.
Again, taking it too far. I like our frosted flakes.
But it might be taking it too far right now. But these things are going to be perfect. Now, let's look. You all are familiar with the Nike Plus. Allows you to run with this alarm. You can track how often you run. You can update. You can see how many calories you burn, and you can share this with friends. Almost as it has a social aspect to it. Some people say to help you encourage to work out. So we're familiar with this. And on a similar thread as far as clothing, there is a Melissa Child at MIT. She created a vest like a hug, to where if you're like Pascal, he takes great pictures. Everybody likes his picture. So once you like the picture, the vest inflates, and you get a real hug. So, Pascal, your vest would just be like out here all the time. Everybody likes your photos. So this is a picture of her wearing it. No, but you know, it feels like a hug. So,
She looks too serious to be wearing a puffy coat.
she does. So, but what if you're not worried? Let's say you're not worried about articles of clothing, right? This is my hibiscus. It just tweeted. You know, there is something called botanicals, which they have like a do-it-yourself kit going for $100, started 2006. And originally now they can tweet and do everything, but originally it would call you if it was low on water. They had a water sensor. It would call you if it was low on water and tell you using the text-to-speech engine what the problem was. And then your plant had a number. So if you called that number, it would tell you how it was doing, based on the status.
Your plant?
Yeah, your plant.
That's definitely taking it too far.
Yeah, and if you don't want to spend $100, you can cut that in half and spend $50 and get this Easy Bloom, which it can do similar things, not necessarily connecting to the cloud, but it observes the water in the soil, fertilizer, sun, and it connects to U.S. Weather Channel to see, what kind of storm, if you need to move it inside, things of that nature. So this is a startup, Twine. What you see and what you're starting to see is almost like these do-it-yourself sensors that are adaptable. This little rubber cube right here can be stored anywhere in your house. It has an accelerometer. It has a sensor for wetness, a thermometer. So you can put it somewhere. You can put it behind your cabinet. When it opens, it knows that a door has been opened. When you put it at your door, if it's not, and it allows you to almost, with no programming, kind of build whatever type of sensor, whatever type of information you want to be given to you. So, if you want to build your own, connected devices, this is an electric amp, and it's basically a card. It's an SD card. Now, you can't put it in your camera, and it turns into a Wi-Fi hotspot. It doesn't work like that. You have to get a bridge for it, and it allows you to connect to, if you are creating a device, it allows you to create to connect to the firmware, depending on the device, it's open source, and create this type of connected device. So if you're building your own chair and you want to, necessarily get the stock updates or whatever you're doing, you might look into building an electric one. Now, these are just some things that are out there right now that have been released or you've seen some concepts. But with this whole connectivity and this Internet of Everything, I wanted to take a look back and look at what are some of these implications. So this is Savannah River site in Aiken, South Carolina. This is a picture from the 1960s. All right, highly mechanized, but minimal computers, right? So they controlled it using a lot of electrical switches. This was a control tower, picture of control room in the 70s. However, this is Iran with the control tower now, and you were at the conference, many people were at the conference, they heard about the Stuxnet virus, which happened in 2010 in Iran, which, when you're connecting things, this is one thing you want to think about. When you're putting all these things on the network, things that weren't on the network, things that didn't have Wi-Fi, things that weren't connected, when you start connecting these things, you do have some advantages, but at the same time, there are some problems, or you might expose some vulnerabilities that you wouldn't have if they weren't connected. And just really thinking about what are the implications of these things. So this has been something I've been thinking about. So let's say that we have these devices and these sensors and we want to connect things. We might be able to do great good. Let's say, for not just ourselves, but people in other countries. However, what happens if you have like a water sensor or a fish sensor that enables one group of people to be better fishermen or use their time more efficiently? However, one group of people, however, you go out and another group of people, they don't have that infrastructure, they don't have those things, they don't have that technology. And guess what? They're not catching any fish.
That happens now.
So you widen the gap and there's greater disparity among groups of people. What if, and I'm in and I work on automotive interfaces, and everything is pushing towards connected car. However, just like the Stuxnet virus, what if all these cars are connected and I want to do something malicious? There's things to consider, just to think about. These are things I've just been thinking about, that when you do, and it's great, I do want to see the Google shoe. It's probably going to be like Nike Plus, but better. But there are some things that you probably want to consider. So there are always trade-offs. So that was my talk. And this is more now for a discussion.
About the code that's connected. What's the code connected?
The cow connected?
Yeah, what's the code?
I didn't research it too heavily, but I think they have, Shelby probably pulling it up right now, but I want to say they have some type of blood, I know some type of blood pressure sensor, something that fake, but for two things, they monitor pregnancy and sickness. Now, I don't know how they're monitoring that sickness.
So were you asking connected in terms of wireless connectivity or not?
No,
I just want to know, how is the code connected here?
what do you mean? Like, are you talking about how does it measure?
No, how is it connected? With something,
It's
a device?
Yeah, sure. I won't pull that one up.
Okay. You're looking for.
And I can give you the company's name.
So right after this building.
Okay, so sensors are implanted in the ears of the cattle, and it tracks their health and movements, things like that. But it's a sensor that they put into the cow's ears.
I definitely monitor temperature. But I don't know how you monitor that stomach virus or that mad cow disease, which I'm worried about.
You probably don't track specific things. You might track like levels of white blood cell. Like you might track white blood cell count, red blood cell count, that sort of stuff. So you might not know, okay, the cow is sick with this particular thing. You just know that it's having an immune response because it has a greater number of white blood cells.
Now, and on that, I met somebody in Anderson a few months ago that actually had heart surgery and he had a new type of pacemaker. And if there's a problem, the doctor would be alerted automatically. I'm like, man, that's in your chest right now? And he was like, yeah.
Apple is coming out with a new device, rumored to be coming out with a new device.
That you wear on your wrist? So there's something called Pebble Watch, which I think they're still raising money. It's going to be like $150, which allows you to customize the face and then display information via Twitter, text, call, emails, RSS feeds, and that's top of the list.
Have you seen the new electrical spoon?
No, I haven't. What?
Yeah, it's an electrical spoon. It was released in the CES this year. I think it counts the number of if you're like into more years. If you're into facts.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually tells you how you're into facts, so actually it will be before you just put it down on your board.
I need to, but I know I need to.